What time is it? It's 1:21. All right, it's 1:21. I'm testing this little situation out, this little rig. Where's my markers? Just turning, my workspace into different ways of generating what I'm generating and sharing with you at the same time. So I thought it might be cool to try to record my thinking session kind of in meditation, spiritual zone, outer field, whatever you want to call it, and thinking about the state of my desire for companionship. And I tend to take whatever the agitations are in life, you learn when you begin to operate in the outer field, um, and you begin to develop some separation from the experience or the tension or the pain of the situation itself, where you kind of get broken out of the container of reality as it's been taught to you. And when you're trying to operate from that orientation, you are subservient to the narrative that has constructed your world. So you have to be subservient to it, otherwise your world could collapse. And that is why it has such a great um, power or influence over us. And until, this is why God's language, unfortunately, is through extreme um, challenge, conflict, consternation to break you away from your ideological structures. And once you've gained comfort outside of the ideological structure, you can navigate. That doesn't mean that you escape from the tension, but you can navigate the tension with higher intelligence. It's almost like learning how to swim, which I still need to achieve, because the example applies because you're not accustomed to traveling on water or releasing your mobile control to environmental influence, such as water. The water has the capacity and the capability to carry you, but you won't allow it to happen. This is much like the spirit. The spirit works the same way. You have to allow it to carry you, but that is a consequence of trust. You have to develop the trust. The spirit has to develop trust against you. It's a two-way relationship. It's not a one-way thing. Many of us assume that this phenomenon known as the spirit is something that's only kind of a one-way situation. Like I just said, I don't want to try to break that down too much, but it is communication, as they're learning in physics now with some of these recent discoveries that are not discoveries to certain folks of intelligence. The broader scientific community is just discovering how quantum physics has a reflective kind of reactionary behavior. You understand? This is not new because the scriptures plainly state this. And anyways, I could go so far. All right, let me slow down. Coffee has kicked in. All right. Um, like I said, so I'm trying to bring it to what I'm going to talk about in a second. Just bear with me. So the tension, like loneliness, like I'm lonely. That's the human interpretation and expression. I'm dealing with that. I'm managing that. But outside of just kind of having a reaction to that stimulus, I take that stimulus into a simulation, if you will. An environment where I can process it. That's just the way that that's a coping mechanism. I'm not suggesting that this is what you should do with certain situations. This is just what my design, my intelligence does with any area of friction. I take the problem into a closed off environment, spiritually, psychologically, mentally, and then I begin to deconstruct it. And not only do I deconstruct it, I find relationships to that tension, and almost like performing a surgery, a self-surgery in a sense, where you you dissect the situation to discover the pain points of what's hitting you, where are the nerves being made contact with. And then once you've identified where the nerves are being made contact with, you can begin to deconstruct and reconstruct yourself around that that situation. That that's if you choose. And sometimes, that's where democracy truly lives, within the self, because there may be a benefit to the tension that I need to fully extract the juice from, the benefit from, like, squeezing lemon juice out of a lemon. You got to put pressure on it to get all of that juice out. And so sometimes consciousness is not necessarily about escape. It's about enduring the pressure to get all of that nutrients out of the challenge. You know what I'm saying? So this is how intelligence works. This is why you have the knowledge of good and evil. It's not given to you just for convenience sake. It's given to you for processing sake. And you need not only to be able to process, but you need to be able to have recall and feedback loops. This is where I mentioned about the necessity of pattern recognition, where it comes in. Intelligence isn't that's all intelligence is pattern recognition. That's all it is. That's truly all it is. And your capacity, or your ability to hold, it really is about, well, how is this discussed in computer language? Your storage. You understand? Can you store and process? That's why I love speaking about it in systems language. It just takes away all of that human clutter in terms of my feelings, this, and that. Like I said, certain levels of consciousness just want to get to the business of it. Let's. People are waste so much time, so much time. Anyways, loneliness, me. Blah blah blah. Put a little poetic post out. I like to express myself creatively sometimes. Sometimes plain talking gets very boring for, those of us that operate in a different realm of intelligence. So we can be playful, And if it was just about the sexual enterprise, if I were about that business, I'd be booked with backshot bookings. You know what I mean? But I need more than that. I need way more than that. I can't even really. Now, granted, in certain times in the morning, I can get in my go for that. I don't need no consciousness whatsoever. But when I am awake and aware, which is 23 hours of the day, she may catch me at that special hour where I'm okay. It's just Pound Town. That's it. You know what I mean? But that comes and goes because I'm more stronger in my consciousness rather than in my unconsciousness, and I just don't live there as often as I used to when I was a younger man. Like Paul said, when I was a child, I thought and spoke as a child, but when I became a man, boy, I put away childish things, and that can be hard to do, but it's necessary. Okay, so I'm getting up on my time. 8 minutes, 22 seconds. I like to chop these things at 10 minutes. So what do I have here? I don't have much here because I yacked so much that I didn't sucked up the time. But hopefully I gave you value. So I want to beg my sisters, to understand what you are, and I'm gonna take my time and break this down. This will probably be a part one. And if you want the part two, engage. Let me know. So I just set this up. You probably can't see it so good, but what this says here is a woman holds the signal and incubates until ... maturation. I was going to continue, and then I got excited to say I might record this and try to share it with you. That's the pause. And so I'm just going to conclude it here and try to wrap this up somewhere around my 10-minute mark. So what am I suggesting with this phrase here? Me and the spirit, me and my mind, me in the field, whatever. Was just kind of conversing about this. Okay, I'm feeling lonely. I'm taking it into my area of synthesis to really process what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, and referencing, scripture, philosophy, science, human mechanics, all of that, because my mind holds all of these things. And so I look to find the relationships in these things and coordination with my being, myself. And then I discover, but it's all anchored through scripture. For me personally, it's all anchored through scripture. I run it through other systems, but it's anchored through scripture for me personally. As for me and my house, that's the way I'm anchored. Okay, so A woman holds the signal and incubates until maturation. So what am I saying? Like in my area and space of creativity, I have here's the consequence. Like we the system holds our signal, and that shouldn't be the case because the system can manipulate our signal. The woman or women should hold the man's signal. You understand? Just like she holds his seed. So think of the signal as the seed. The signal and the seed is the same thing. So just like the seed gives birth to something, this man's vision, his purpose, his intention, you do that as well. It's the same responsibility. So the same care and protection that's provided to her brothers, you should care for her in a way when she's holding your vision, she's holding your dream. You understand? And I have a lot to learn about these reflections and things I could have done better in the past when someone, but however, sisters, don't manipulate that man through his vision. That's how you can get it really fucked up. And that's what's happened in my experience is that, anyways, I don't want to make this personal. I don't want to do that. What I'm saying is that if he entrusts his vision to you, you are pregnant. You are pregnant from that point forward. If you do not intend to carry the baby until full gestation, abort. Don't disappoint that man. Don't do that. Now, when I'm hoping that this parallel, this metaphor carries over and allows you to understand the significance of what I'm trying to share. But for me as a creator, as a builder, me personally, I'm a world builder. I don't just build things, I build worlds. And that's the thing that makes me sick. You understand? Because I can't perform in structures and companies because I have whole worlds in my mind and I have to make them. I have to create. I have to. And so what I see and how the system has been designed, the system is designed to capture every signal. That's the purpose of it. It's designed to capture every signal. But everything isn't for everybody, and everything isn't for every space. Everything isn't for every container. Like you can't just be putting your seed everywhere, your dream, your vision everywhere. You don't want to do that. You need someone that can hold and incubate your signal. And so it's a consequence for great men like myself. And yeah, I'm going to declare myself a great man because I am a great man. And many of my brothers are great men. We just need great women to walk with us. Great women to walk with us and hold the signal. Protect the signal. Change your diet, your behaviors, your movements to protect the signal. Do whatever is necessary to bring that dream to pass, because it's something that you share, and that child becomes your child together. You are a part of that thing that is now manifested. No woman can ever take your place. And so rather than trying to manipulate that man through his vision, hold it, be pregnant with him, hold his seed, amplify his signal, be his cheerleader, because when you're pregnant, you go and get those EK, whatever those tests you get. You do the little checkups. You're excited. He's rubbing the belly, the kicking, when momentum gets into the thing and so forth, and the baby is kicking and so forth, and you can feel like this thing is real. That's a beautiful fucking thing. And it doesn't happen often enough within our community. It should happen more. You know what I'm saying? For me personally, no, I'm not going to say that yet. You guys are not ready for that yet. You're not, but I have a basic foundation for the mental orientation of the woman or women that I would entertain, and I've tried to make arguments about my preference from a more enlightened perspective. But if you a nigga that a woman is checking for, she don't want to hear none of that bullshit unless you are focused on her 100% exclusively. And this is a regressive orientation for my sisters, unfortunately. Yeah, that sounds like some pimp shit, but it's not. It's nationalistic. And before long, if you don't recognize, wake up, and understand, we're going to suffer great consequences. You get what I'm saying? But for me, having understanding, I have to operate according to my clarity, my consciousness. You understand? And for me, that takes a woman that is open-minded, period. Point blank. So, like I said, there's more than one way to get pregnant. So Find a brother with a real dream that's got legs and let him knock you up. Blessings. Peace.